Our original equation here is 3v squared equals negative 15v. Step 1 is to move all the terms to the same side equal to 0. I know that ultimately I'm going to factor, so I would really like my leading coefficient to be positive. So 3v squared, I would really like the 3 to stay positive. So I'm going to move over the minus 15v by adding 15v. But if in the original, if this would have been negative 3v squared, I would have added 3v squared, because again, I like to have my leading coefficient be positive. Now after adding 15v, I get 3v squared plus 15v equals 0. You'll notice today on some of the problems that you're given, the original looks more like this. Everything is already on one side equal to 0, but sometimes you'll have to add or subtract to move the term to the other side so that everything is equal to 0. Okay, now that we have everything equal to 0, we want to factor. And the reason we want to factor is factoring turns this into a multiplication problem. And in multiplication, if two things multiply together to get 0, then one of those pieces has got to be 0. So turning this into a multiplication problem, we're going to look for what's in common to both and then put the leftover inside of parentheses. So for 3v squared and 15v, the biggest number that fits into 3 and 15 is the number 3. And then v squared and v, those both have a v in common. So I'm going to take a 3v out front. And you could think of this one of two ways. You can think 3v multiplied by what gets me back to 3v squared, or 3v squared divided by 3v. But I'm going to think of it as, what do I multiply 3v by to get back to 3v squared? And that would be v. And then here, I could think of this for what's left over. I can do 15v divided by 3v, or I could say 3v multiplied by what is 15v. So that's going to be a positive 5, and now it's equal 0. So I have 3v multiplied by v plus 5. So if either one of these turns into the number 0, then 0 times anything is 0. So let's set each factor equal to 0. So setting 3v equal to 0 and v plus 5 equal to 0. Solve. To solve this one, I'm going to undo multiply by 3 by dividing by 3. And I end up with 0 divided by 3, which is 0. Subtract 5 to get v by itself. And v is equal to negative 5. So one more time, the reason this works, after we have factored and set each piece equal to 0 and solve, is because 0 turns this into 3 times 0 is 0. And 0 plus 5 is 5, and 0 times 5 is 0. We found the number that makes that piece equal 0. And negative 5 would make this negative 15 times 0, which is 0.